Finally, today's the day. Open early access for Orion Drift. Hey, where is everybody? I thought the servers went live today. What's going on? That's right, it's time. Orion Drift is finally here. The doors are open and you can play. Yes, you can play today. No application, no waiting. Just install Orion Drift on your headset and that's it. If that's all you're here for and that's all you wanted to know, well, too bad. The video's not over yet. It's time for the most anticipated VR game over the last 2 years to open up its doors and begin the final stage of development, the open early access stage. But before I talk about what's ahead of us and what's happening now, let's do a mini history lesson on Orion Drift and how it became to be. I promise, this will be quick. As many of you remember, back in August of 2023, Echo VR, which was a virtual reality esports arena title where Echo units competed against each other in 2 game modes, Echo Arena and Echo Combat, was shut down. And upon the announcement that it would be happening earlier that year, Lemming, the guy who started Gorilla Tag, sent out a tweet claiming that he wouldn't let there be a world with no zero gravity VR sports. Then they began.
The circuit lounge is buzzing like a happy.
Why can't you stop buzzing and yapping and. They began development right away, and at a keynote event in Las Vegas, October 14th in 2023, which I attended, they announced that their closed early access title would move into App Lab in early 2024. And here we are in early 2025, and that's finally becoming a reality. Orion Drift has had a much larger focus than originally planned, so they needed another year to get this ready, but here we go. This is Orion Drift. I'm going to start out with a shuttle. You can find this down the hall from when you spawn when you first open the game. You're going to want to come over here to the server selection station and pick really any station, but since you're probably new here, you can go ahead and pick the rookie station if you're looking for some help learning how to play, or where I like to hang out, the clubhouse. Once you're connected with a station, you'll find yourself right here, just outside of the shuttle and in front of the Driftball District. You can now go explore this district in its entirety, all on your own, or grab some friends. But if you aren't home, or if you want something else to watch after this video, take a look at my video on this district I have pinned in the corner. But to be quick and wrap it up, the Driftball District features 7 arenas and a bunch of these practice pods you can go in and dial in your fundamentals in shot practice and goalie. Come visit the Circuit Lounge to hang out with your friends or watch a match. Or come to Spark Supplies and drip out your drifter. We now tune in to see the Golf District. This place is packed full of, a lot of grass. There's a lot of grass. The Golf District is still being worked on, but currently features 2 9-hole golf courses, with the second of the 2 floating above the first. Golf in Orion Drift is surprisingly relaxing while keeping the competitive spirit alive if you're trying to beat your teammates. Each course has 9 different holes you and your friends play through, trying to score the least amount of hits on the ball in order to land the ball into the hole. Take shots back to back, going from hole to hole, and whoever scores the least wins. And maybe you can redeem yourself on the second upper decker course if you lost on the first one. Once you're done playing golf, you'll notice that in the center of the district there's some volleyball courts. Come on in and play volleyball. You and however many teammates you want, but realistically you want to do 1v1s or 2v2s. Play against each other in a rather casual but still intense game where you hit the ball onto the other person's side, and every time you hit the ground, that floor tile disappears. And this repeats until you either have no tiles left and you're basically one shot, or your opponent manages to hit the same spot they struck before, the ball goes through the floor and scores, resetting your side while their tiles stay the same, so it's a little bit more difficult on them. Now, since there's no official rules for volleyball, everybody plays a little differently, but these are the rules that I like to follow. Nobody's allowed to use any boost. If it's a 1v1, you get to hit the ball twice in a row until a ball either goes to the other side, or if it hits a tile of yours, and then you get 2 more hits. If it's a 2v2 or even a 3v3, it gets a little closer to traditional volleyball rules, where it's 3 hits per side, but no one player is allowed to hit the ball more than once at a time. Teamwork is all about being selfless and trusting your teammates in volleyball, as you're way stronger as a team than you would be if you were just trying to be the one to hit the ball. The last major district we have, before I get into the fun, smaller additions that we have, is the Parkour District. This district is comprised of some massive boulders to climb, rock wall-like obstacles, high-rise challenges, and, basically a bunch of parkour stuff. This area of the Orion focuses less on skills that you would need for stuff like ball control in games, like the Golf District helps with. Instead, however, parkour turns the focus onto the movement aspect. and gets you used to making small but consequential and high-skilled fine motor control movements with your hand that help you move around in ways that I promise are genuinely challenging. I'll go more into depth on all of this eventually in a dedicated video for the Parkour District, but just so you know, these 3 districts are the main place to be for a while, and with that, let's move on to the bonus rounds. And next up is the Drift Plex. Now let me tell you something, Orion Drift is absolutely a breeding ground for events like a tournament or a competition, and throughout early access we had a bunch of tournaments, but it was kind of hard because there was only 7 arenas, so you could only have so many games going on at once. So they annexed off a section of the Orion to give us an extra group of driftball arenas where we can go play if all of the other arenas were full, so that you didn't have to go to a different station to play some driftball. The Driftplex is a very nice and very new addition to the Orion that's welcomed by all and serves a wonderful purpose. I'm so glad that we have this. And next up on the Orion, we have soccer. Wow, so cool. You still don't care? Great, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Over here above the Driftplex, we have Foursquare. This is one of my favorite childhood games brought back to me in a format that I can always revisit. Now, I think these squares are a little bit too small, but that's really easily fixed. And this is kind of new to the Orion, so they haven't had time to get feedback, and I think if everybody just tells the devs, hey, we want a bigger Foursquare, they will give it to us. Now, I want to set the record straight with Foursquare and lay out the rules that I grew up with. You have, it's kind of, there's 4 squares, and you kind of go in them. So 1 player per square, and there's 4 levels in Foursquare. There's the king, which can technically stand anywhere, but for the sake of simplicity, let's say they stand in the square closest to Stadium Prime. The queen, who is to the king's right, the knight, who is to the queen's right, and then the jack. The goal of Foursquare is to become, and stay for as long as you can, the king. The king serves the ball by bouncing the ball once and then slapping it into another square. And the way to stay alive in Foursquare is to only let the ball hit your square once, and when you hit it, don't hit it out of the map, and don't let it hit your box twice. If you can get the ball to bounce in somebody else's square more than once, or in a way that they can't reach it before it goes out of bounds, then they're out. If someone's out, the players below them in rank move up into their spot, and the person who's out either leaves to get back in line, or moves into the jack's spot. I love Foursquare, and I'm so excited to see it in Orion Drift. I'm sure that we'll get a lot more content out of this, and maybe see it get turned into a little bit more of a real game mode. Over here we have some darts that don't do anything unless you hit one of them. It makes a noise, but that's kind of it. And that's all, folks. That's totally the entire Orion and all of the bonus game modes. I'll see you later. Oh, but Tall Dude, what about Scrap Run? Did you forget about Scrap Run? No, I didn't forget about Scrap Run. It's just, let me say it this way. I think it's better left for another video. If you like this video, and this is the first time I can say this, if you would like to be part of the next Tall Dude video, the lounge is the best place to be if you want to participate in events. I'm moving all of my replay recording sessions into Open EA so that I can use you guys to help film these projects. Previously, I relied on closed EA members, but now I get to let you all play a part in the process. I'm Tall Dude, and I'll see you next time.